Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Online Darts, the live lounge. It is Wednesday, the 16th of September, and here we are, as always. I'm Phill Bars, joined by Jack Garwood and Jarleth and Jack. Gentlemen, good evening. How are we all?
Yeah, evening, Phil. Very, very warm welcome to everybody watching us here on YouTube. As always, tonight I will be brutally honest, PB. After the last 5 days, my head is absolutely frazzled. The amount of ranking changes, the amount of everything else that's happened, loads of people wondering who's the best player in the world, and I'm sure we'll get to that discussion tonight. I'm very, very excited to have that discussion, but it's great to see your two faces from all of us here in Birmingham, Sandwell and Solihull. I'm in Solihull. We're all on lockdown, but you two can still go out and party if you'd like to, after what's been a dramatic autumn series indeed.
Yes, God, have you found it?
You can try, pal.
It's been all right. I got a proper job, so I've been at that, and that's about it, isn't
it? Well done. Well done. Happy days to you.
Proper job, but we've managed to follow the autumn series, and what an unbelievable 5 days of darts. It's had just about everything. We'll go through the individual days in a minute. Plenty to talk about. So we're going to go through the 5 days, the order of merit, who's doing bits, who's not. We've got the FDI power rankings to talk about as well, because I really love them, because it's more like a proper ranking about like golf, because it gives you an indication of who's playing well now, not 18 months ago. And everything like that. Then we're going to look ahead to the World Series. Fans are back in Austria as it's being billed by the PDC. Plenty to talk about. So, gents, only one place to start with all that being said. We'll cut straight to day number one. And it had a familiar feel to it, I think it's fair to say, with Stakey winning Autumn Series number one. Go on then, Jar. We'll let you go here, because you're the Snake Boy fanboy.
I can't help this. The fact that he is the best player in the world. There's no doubt in my mind, and it hasn't changed since the last time we had this discussion last week after the Premier League. And he looked on that day in particular. He looked in unbelievable form. There's no doubt in my mind about that. I thought that this was a really solid day's work from Stakey, because he backed up a really good end to the Premier League where he was really on top of his game, it felt like, in aspects of it, to get to that point where he just looked so calm and collected. To be in that point as well, by the way, and I don't want to talk about the Green Machine too much at this point, because I'm sure we'll discuss him a little bit later, but the fact that he's 5-2 down, getting battered by Michael van Gerwen, to then come back and average 109 against him to win that match 7-6 shows to me that he actually, the interview that we said with it, that you did with him, PB, in my opinion, he's got the majority of the darting world. When he's on it, he's got the majority of the darting world in the palm of his hand. He's the player that nobody wants to play. And that is a point where you have to admit that he is the best player on the planet. And that is the truth. That game for me, he participated in 2 of the games of the Autumn Series for me. That semi-final, which was utterly mint from both players, and the other game was the quarter-final where he lost to Joe Cullen, where Cullen had 112 average and Peter Wright just 106. So, poor from Stakey, really, in that sense. But no, in my opinion, this is obviously easily his best day of the entire tournament. Back-to-back Pro Tour titles as well for Snakebite. In short, I don't think he could have done much more than that. I mean, okay, fair enough. He wasn't expected to play Mardos Rasmussen in the final. I don't think, maybe.
He was expected to win, but
yes, but to do that consistently, Gob, and also as well to go 17 unbeaten on the Pro Tour is not exactly a bad effort, is it?
Oh, he's done all right, but if you're world number one, like you think he is, world champion and the best on the planet, to only win one is not a good week's work, I don't think.
Well, for number one, for the number one player in the world, as currently as rankings suggest, has only won one as well. So are we saying that's not a good week for him when he was in a crisis?
I don't think it is a good week for him. I think he'll say that himself. If you ask MVG, he'll say it's a poor week's work.
Yeah. Well, no, but that's the standard that MVG sets, and I'll come on to him a little bit later because I want to have this discussion with you two as well as our viewers and our listeners about where we need to judge Michael van Gerwen, whether we're judging him a bit too harshly, and I'll explain a bit more of that in a bit later on. However, for Snakey, he has been the best player in the Premier League. There's no doubt in my mind about that since the restart. There's no doubt in my mind that he was. He's also been one of the more consistent players here. I appreciate he didn't have a great day today when he lost to Ravi John Rodriguez in the second round, but let's not go into the bottom half of that draw today because that was bloody wild. I still maintain that he is the best player on the planet, but let me tell you, the gap between the three, where it was at the end of last year to where it is now, the gap between Wright, Van Gerwen and Price, anybody can make a case on either one of those three being the best player in the world, and I'll have a listen to it.
No, I agree that one of those three is the best player in the world at the moment, but we'll come on to that shortly.
Let me guess where you're going with that one, PB. Let me guess where you're going with that one.
I think you might be surprised. But no, Peter Wright getting the business done on day number one, and like we said, the semi-final was probably the best game of the day, arguably one of the best games of the tournament across the whole 5 days. I know we can't watch them all, but certainly the stream games. Again, we'll talk about this one more important, but Big Dev doing bits again in day number one. We'll touch on Big Dev as we go along, but Snakey getting business done on day number one, but that's as good as it got for the world champion. Day number two. Hands up if you saw and predicted this one coming, ladies and gentlemen.
No.
Damon Heta, the Heat, winning on day number two of the autumn series. And in fairness to him, he played steady all day. I wouldn't say great, I'd say steady. I think it's a fair assessment, Gob.
Yeah, I think steady is exactly the word. He was consistent all day, and he's very tough to beat. He's very consistent on his finishing. He's quite methodical as a player for someone who doesn't expend a lot of energy for his action. And I think that obviously frustrates people. I talk about the pace of the game quite a lot. I think he is an uncomfortable player to play against at times. But he's obviously got bags of belief, bags of ability. We've seen that from winning a World Series event, and now he's converted it into a ranking event as well. And he will keep climbing up the rankings. He will get more and more comfortable as he spends more time. Well, this one wasn't even in the UK. Still yet to win a title based in the UK now that he's been over it. But as he settles into that, I think he'll become more and more dangerous as it goes along. He'll get more and more belief. And just constantly playing darts at this level, his game will get better.
I know, 100%. And I like the fact he's made the commitment to move over here. And as he said in his presser afterwards, he's here now until it's done. Basically, yes, if there's a gap, he'll go home. But primarily, he's here to do business and do bits on this tour. I believe his wife's over with him as well, which is a huge thing for any family
think that massively
commitment. 100%, I'm with you on that one.
Obviously, I've spent a lot of time with Kyle, and I think not having the family here is the difference. I think you can definitely see the difference it makes on the down days. When Kyle was playing darts, he was absolutely fantastic, but those periods when he just arrives back in the UK and he hasn't got anything to concentrate on for a couple of weeks, they're the ones that hit the most. And I think Damon travelling with his partner will be absolutely massive for him. They can build a life together rather than trying to build something as a family on opposite ends of the globe, pretty much.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think that is huge, and that's the thing. A bit like when Whitlock did it, he made the commitment. He came over on his own, but he knew what it was. But Kyle was sort of like stuck in the middle. Obviously, you know better. He tried to do both, and I don't think you can. It's either one or the other. Gob, would you agree?
Yeah, definitely. They tried it at the start, and then it just wasn't for the family, so they moved back, and Kyle stayed to try and make a go of it. And I think he's done the best he can, and we'll see what happens in the future for him. But Damon managing to do it with his partner is massive.
100%. And I'm guessing that he will represent Australia as well in the World Cup with Simon Whitlock. And I'm not being disrespectful here, but right now that makes Australia a better team.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
I think so. Damon's consistently playing darts at the minute. That's something that Kyle hasn't been able to do. He hasn't been able to travel back over to play in any of these events. So the fact that Damon's actually on the board and playing just gives him that edge at the minute.
Yeah, no, definitely. And, of course, he will be in the Grand Slam of darts as well, which is a huge thing for the Heat, but we'll come on to that more in a minute. Moving on to day number 3. We knew it wouldn't take long, ladies and gentlemen. And first of all, thanks, Lou. I think Lou had a few days off at the start of the week, but Lewis from the PDC, I've pitched his graphics as always. He does a great job with them. We've got them from day 3 on. We've got them from day 3 onwards. The Big Green Machine, MVG, back in the winner's circle. But the equipment change is, I think we'll start there because it's quite a big one, wasn't it? I know we were umming and ahhing. I sort of knew because he told me that I'm probably going to go back. And I think it made a huge difference over the 5 days playing with the old equipment.
Can I just say very, very quickly, we actually managed to get through an answer with Gob before he actually dials out his internet. His internet actually is stable this week. That is a big surprise. Well done. Congratulations to you.
He's got the hamsters in the old doing their little exercises at the moment to keep them going.
No, don't jinx it. I'm actually on 4G.
Oh, right, fair.
I'm hotspotting. I'm not even risking the Wi-Fi this week.
I'm about to say, I was about to go, Jesus Christ, that is a big one.
It was cutting out a couple of times pre-show, and I was like, no, I'm not going through that again. If Rob messages for a shout-out in the comments in a minute, PB, get him.
Right. Big question then about MVG's equipment change. Look, it's interesting, I'd say, because, like I say, we all pretty much knew because you'd basically known beforehand, Phill, that he was going to change back. He did pretty well on Saturday, obviously making the semi-finals when he ran into the best player in the world. And then on Sunday, he ran into a Damon Heta that was on fire that day, really. He was more consistent player. And we've always said, if it's your day, it's your day. And you have to go through Michael Van Gerwen normally to go and win a title. That's just how it works on the Pro Tour. And no one did in this occasion. And you could see that he was a lot more comfortable than he normally would be with the normal darts. And like you've always said, Phill, I think that someone at Winmau is definitely Winmau's going to be having a bit of a chin wag to make sure that they can build basically an exact replica of Old Faithfuls in order to try to get him for the next set of TV events. But that so that was great and all that. But here's my biggest issue, right, with everything that everyone's talking about. And like we always say as a joke, we use the Harry Potter, he's back. We see that on Twitter. We see people going, is this the start really of MVG coming back into where he is? I think we need to be a bit more realistic, if you want me to be honest, because that 2016 season where he won every single televised title and then went on to win the World Championships, that takes so much out of you. I don't think we will ever see the like of that again in this sport. If you want me to be brutally honest, I don't think we'll ever see that ever again coming forward now with the strength of the game. So people, I think, are judging him on that 2016-17 season when he was invincible. To be consistently that invincible in this field, I appreciate people go, well, you say that he's the greatest player to pick up a dart, and Phill Taylor did this for so many years. Yes, you have to remember that the quality of the PDC back then is nowhere near as strong as the quality of the PDC is now. So I'm not having that argument about Taylor's invincibility. He's the most successful player to pick up a dart. MVG's the greatest, in my opinion. We can have that discussion another day. So if you look at what he was doing last year on the tour, he had a great start to the year, picked up a couple of titles, did pretty well. Didn't win the UK Open, obviously. Went missing in the middle after winning the Premier League. Basically had a summer off. Didn't really do much. Won the Melbourne Masters, or the Sydney. Was it the Melbourne Masters? I think it was, wasn't it?
So he won Melbourne and Auckland. I think he won.
Yeah, and then that set him up to go and win the World Grand Prix, to go and win the Champions League of Darts, the only one he hadn't won. To then go and win to go 4 short just at the Grand Slam. He then won the World Series, won the Players' Championship, made a final of the World Championship. That is not a man who's out of form. So if you look at it for what he was doing last year, there was nowhere near that he's back. It's the fact that he was doing what he's been doing for the last 2 years, and that's how it works. So I think people need to start judging him on that season, because 2016 will never happen again. It was that special because he was probably the only person who could play at that level, and it just took that much out of him. I don't think we'll ever see the like.
No, I agree, and I think he does get judged more harshly than any other player because of the standards he set. Look, the bar, his A game is still better than anyone's A game. Fact. And if anyone tries to tell me different, I'm just not having it. You're entitled to your opinion, but you're wrong. His A game is by far better than anyone else's, and we've seen glimpses again. I know we joke, we use that he's back, but I've seen enough over the last week that he's not far away. And the big thing for me that I've noticed more than anything is the 180s, the grouping, and he's taken out combination finishes again. The 72s to 116s, they're when he's one dart in hand, because he trusts the equipment in his hand. He's not thinking about it. For me.
Yeah, I agree. His plus finishing in the Premier League was abysmal.
Yeah. His grouping as well, just straight away, you can see when there's two sat in the top of the treble 20, I don't think any of us think the other one ain't joining it anymore. But in the Premier League, we were like, this could go anywhere. This could hit a big 12. So, for me, great signs.
On that, the problem is he got very bored of darts at one point. He wasn't going for 180s. He was no longer the safe bet for a 180 count for a period of about 18 months because he was trying to set up legs differently. He was trying to look at it at a far more intellectual level than just getting up and letting the darts do the talking. He was trying to set up finishes from 6-9 darts out that he likes and different ways and different combinations because he was that good and he didn't have that much of a challenge. But I think that was his mistake because that allowed slips and mistakes, and that allowed players to start edging those victories against him that let them build confidence. They know they've done it before now, so they can keep going and doing it again. And obviously, we spoke about those seasons he's had in the past. The law of averages suggests that people are gonna catch up with you. They're gonna nick the odd win, and the more and more the players have been around him and pick up those odd wins, they'll grow in confidence from it. It's just the way that it is. I think the season doesn't help him either, finally. Like, darts is an all-year-round game. You don't really get a break. You get the odd 3 or 4 weeks off, but you don't get, like, the whole summer off like you do in football or the winter off like you do in cricket or anything like that. So there's no time to really
off last year,
have some downtime.
He took summer off last year.
But he's managing his schedule now because you don't really get that. Players are being forced to pick and choose and then try and peak at the right moments. And that's not something we've ever seen in darts before. Whereas in other sports, you get the opportunity, you can wind down a bit. It doesn't take that much of a mental toll as other sports where you can go and get away for 6 weeks and then go, right, now these are my goals. These are what I've got to go and do because of the things like the World Series and that. So,
but this is what I was going to come on to. If you look at everything to do with darts, really, you have that start of the year where you come back, where you have the Premier League, where it's his baby. Let's be honest about it. This year, obviously, is a bit different with COVID, but let's just go with normal. The Premier League's his baby. So he normally goes at it hard, February to May, normally picks up the UK Open title. Jobs are good in there. He'll probably then manage his schedule a little bit in terms of the World Series. Yeah, he'll obviously want to win trophies. Everybody wants to win prize money and trophies, but the only real thing you've got to try to peak for in the summer is the World Match Play. That's the thing, because he's already done enough normally in February and March to get to the big events at the end of the year, certainly the Players' Championships and anything else. You then get through the match play, and then you get to October or September. Normally October, once you've had the World Series, once you've basically had the time to maybe go for a couple of Euro tours and whatever, you then get to that stage of the year where it is brutal, not just for the players, but for us, for Christ's sake. Grand Prix, European Championship, Grand Slam, World Series finals. He's normally in as well. Champions League, if that comes back next year, the Players' Championships, and then the Daddy. What you need to do, and I mean, he's better than it than most, is to peak at that time. You want to be peaking October, November time to get yourself pushing into that World Championships. I've just seen a comment, by the way. Pete. I've just seen a comment, PB, on YouTube saying, "Is this the MVG defense hour?" No, it's not. If you knew what my thoughts on Michael van Gerwen are in comparison to most, this is not the MVG defense hour. I think that he has dropped. Standards have dropped, but you have to compare them from where he is. Like, he isn't that special, unique talent anymore because of what Gob has said. He's not that special, unique talent. No, he's not, mate. Look,
yes, he is. He's still the most special talent out there by an absolute country mile.
I don't disagree with you, but at the moment in time, the stats don't lie. Wright gets him in the World Championships. He's not in the Premier League top 4. Appreciate the UK Open. You know my thoughts on that. He should have gone against Jason Lowe. Look, the point is this. He's a great darts player, but like I say, we have to judge him for the standards that he set over the last year, not from that unique 2016 season where he won everything. And that's my point. My point is that this isn't the MVG defense hour. The point is that from where he was last year, there ain't much change to where he is this year. That's simple as.
Well, I think we've covered day 3 quite well there, gents. I think we've touched on just about everything. Right, we'll do days 4 and 5 sort of like concurrent because they belong to one man, and it is the Iceman, Geraint Price, who over the last 2 days has been sensational. I think it's fair to say, gents.
Has he?
Have you not seen his? You said the stats don't lie. Have you not seen him today?
I don't disagree today, but yesterday, no. Yesterday, no.
Beats Ryan Searle with 105.
Yeah. And he beat Ryan Murray with a 104.
He had 2 times yesterday. And I think he was incredibly fortunate to win the final.
Absolutely.
Today he was over. Winning that final yesterday set that up completely.
Oh yeah, no, I agree that day 4 that Devon Pearson should have won the title. I'm not arguing that fact, and Gezi said it himself. But that's what pressure does for you when it's your first final, and Dev will learn from it. No doubt. But pressure does funny things to funny people, and the fact that Gezi is a seasoned winner, he knows how to win on a Pro Tour, a Euro Tour, and a stage, got him out of jail. I think it's fair to say in the final.
I can't disagree with that. Yeah, I
wanted to see you try.
He played.
I wanted to see you try.
I mean, his wins were good yesterday, which is where I was going to go. His solid wins, the 2 where he averaged over a ton. I think the rest of his game was similar to what we're seeing from Michael at the minute. I think the problem is that these guys are capable of such extravagant darts that when they pull it off, I'm just worried about the level of their B games. Yes, they're winning with it, but Michael's been around that 92, 93 average for a fair amount of his games this week. And he was doing the same in the Premier League. He's not really going 95 and above, and neither was Gezi's B game yesterday. And that's, I mean, it's a very harsh criticism, but that is the criticism you've got of the best players in the world in comparison to maybe 3-4 years ago. They weren't averaging less than 96, 97 a couple of years ago. If they averaged less than 92, they'd had a really bad off game. Now that they're still getting away with it, and I'm not sure if that's because perhaps some of the bottom end talent on the Pro Tour isn't what it was. And there are perhaps easier games at the minute without being disrespectful. There are certainly a handful of players that you'd fancy your chances to get through with your B game in the opening round or two. And then you have to beat for it. And I'm not sure if it's just a little bit of complacency for the...
Yeah, sorry to interrupt that, mate. Just very, very quickly, there are some players, the top 3 players in the world, there are some players they could probably play their D game and still beat them. I'm not being funny, but I
think that's just a little bit of complacency for these boys, that they know that they can build into a day now. They don't have to be exceptional from dart 1 if they get the right draw.
And what I'd say quickly, Phil, just really quickly, Phil, what I'd say is that the top 3 in the world currently, Wright, Price, MVG, are so far ahead of the field. I appreciate we have Gary on his day, can be up there as the top 4. But I'd like to liken it to, and I think, God, on a previous show we said this, about Federer, Djokovic, Nadal, and Murray when he's on his day. Would you agree with that, probably? Saying that that's what the top 4 are like at the moment? Right, Price, MVG, and then Gando when he gets going?
I'd say so. Perhaps Gando could be swapped in or out, though, because you've got the likes of Duzza,
I think the top 3
you get the odd winner that's a bit more left field.
Yeah, I think the top 3 are a league of their own. And then beneath them, there's probably a group of 5 or 6 that on their day can damage anyone. But the top 3 consistently are head and shoulders above everyone else for me, and I think most darts fans. But going back to what you're saying about the standard lower down in the 1-8, that's where the issue with Q School is. Because you don't get the best players come through. So the tour is never going to be the best 1-8 players that are available.
But this is
simple as.
Okay, so look, we know you've got your. Well, that's very true, actually. Yeah, we know you've got your gripes with Q School PB. What would you like to see happen then? Do we cap entries? Do we cap people that only play on the Dev Tour, on the Challenge Tour? Excuse me. What do we do there? I can't fathom that.
Right, me personally, and this is we'll come back onto day 5 in a minute, but just as we're talking about that, right? What I'd like to see, and look, this will never happen, by the way, because 1, it would cost Barry too much money. But you've got the 2 tours, you've got the Pro Tour, and you've got the Challenge Tour, right? So for me, you play Q School to get onto the Challenge Tour. And then the cards that are available, it's simple promotion and relegation. If there's 20 people losing their tour card from the Pro Tour, the top 20 in the Challenge Tour order of merit win their card. Because you know they're committed to play, they've played at a good standard, otherwise they wouldn't be on where they are in those rankings on the Challenge Tour. Because for me, too many people rock up just to try and play a top player at Q School. And that's not what it was designed for. So that's the way I like to do it. That you go to Q School to get on the tour, but that's to get your place on the Challenge Tour, and then you perform well on the Challenge Tour to get onto the Pro Tour.
Well, you look at. Well, here's one for you. Then you look at the Challenge Tour order of merit, right? Scott Mitchell. But I like that idea. I do, but like you say, it won't ever happen. You look at Scott Mitchell. You don't think he's better than some of the 1-8 currently in the field? Honestly,
100%.
It's the same way with talk about Andrew Gilding.
World champion.
About to say, I'm not. It's a rhetorical question. It's not saying that, like, you know. I understand that. Things like you say, Andrew Gilding, formerly put it on there. Eddie Lovely's had a good run a couple of times in the summer series. You got Robert Collins, who's been doing bits, and particularly you know him pretty well as well, PB, with the work and all that sort of stuff. You know, Matty Denon, Adam Huck. Nathan Rafferty's been playing very, very well. Cameron Mendy's always there or thereabouts. I still maintain that. Yeah.
Look, it will never happen because of the financial implications. But hey, look, what do I know? It's just a little idea from us here at Online Darts. Right, anyway, back in the room, going on to day number 5. We've put that right in mid rant. Today, certainly Price was majestic.
This was an astonishing day. I'm not gonna lie to you. The only time we didn't average 100 was in the final. That is mental.
Yeah.
I appreciate he obviously gets the bye because Andy Hamilton pulls out. But to be 3-0 down in your first match to Vincent van der Voort, to then go and absolutely wipe the floor with him in six of the last 7 legs, to go and win 6-4 with 106 average, ain't bad. To then go, God, you could probably talk a bit more about the James Wade game, because that 10th leg from Wadey. Well, I'm just saying, on a serious note, that 10-dart leg from Wadey to break the throw, to then go there and break the throw on the final leg in 14 darts at average 107. Cojones of steel there.
Yeah, it was massive. I genuinely thought that break back for Wadey at the last minute had turned the game back in his favour. Right, he threw like a pub player in the deciding leg, but there's not like you do when your opponent throws a 14-darter anyway.
Yeah, 100%. But the Iceman is certainly going to take some stocking. Right, interesting one, guys. The final order of merit for the autumn series. As we can see, the Iceman, Gerwyn Price, tops it after winning 24,000. Now, here's the interesting bit. Number 2 is Michael van Gerwen. Number 3 is Peter Wright. Just saying, Jar, that the Big Green Machine outperformed Wright over 5 days in the autumn series. Moving on. Number 4 is Damon Heta.
I will come.
Jab him in the back and move on. Jab and move, Phill. Jab and move.
Hang on 1 second. I will let you go through the top 10, but I will talk about something about Gerwyn Price, Michael van Gerwen, and Peter Wright in just a second. I'll let you go through the top 10, and if you don't mind me coming back to that'd be great.
Number 5, Joe Cullen. I thought had a really good autumn series. Did the Rockstar?
I'm gutted for Cullen not to win one, because that Sunday in particular, where he did make the final, was mint. He was brilliant.
Yeah. Mensur Sulovic, number 6. Big Dev Peterson at 7. 10 grand, that could have been, and probably should have been so much more, but a great 5 days for the South African Warrior. Number 8 is an interesting one, Ratajski, because barring today, he had an abysmal autumn series. Today, he got him out of jail.
He was nowhere.
But
he was nowhere.
He finds himself in 8th. Matthias Razma, who was consistent across the 5 days and come from nowhere, finishing 9th. And also the Portuguese Rockstar Jose de Souza in 10th is the top 10 of the autumn series order of merit.
Razma, by the way, can I just say, he performed so well on the Friday as well in the World Series qualifier. So that Saturday run to me wasn't a surprise. I know people going, where the hell's that come from? But if you actually watched him on the World Series finals, he made the last 8 of that. So there was signs there, if you looked at there, to suggest that he was going to do bits. I didn't expect him obviously to make a final, but when you look at it and go, Bardos Rasmus still in the tournament. How the hell's he there? Oh yeah, he did probably well on the Friday. But my point about Price, Van Gerwen, and Wright, PB, is the fact that we said this back at the UK Open, that 2 of the top 3 would be in the final, barring if they didn't draw each other. And obviously, Gerwyn Price and Michael van Gerwen were in that there, and Peter Wright lost to Michael Smith, if my memory serves me correctly. In the Daryl Gurney. Daryl Gurney it was on the Saturday night, and it shows again. Consistency is there between Gerwyn Price and Michael van Gerwen. I was really hoping that we were going to get them in the semi-final today to properly decide who finishes top of the order of merit, but fate goes against us. Jose de Sousa knocks him out for the first time, gets his first win over MVG. Big moment for him, but no, you can't take away from what Price did for the last 2 days. It was absolutely astonishing. Simple as.
Yeah, no, look, he's been the best player across the 5 days, and it's the old saying, the league table never doesn't lie, and it doesn't here. That Michael van Gerwen is better than Peter Wright. I mean, Gerwyn Price tops the table.
Look, there's still
quite finished now.
Season to go, PB. Let's see what happens in the World Series finals on Friday and Saturday this weekend.
Right, we're going to bring up the FDI power rankings here as well, because I really like this. If you don't follow him on Twitter, this is really good, and it's
mint.
And it's
Absolutely mint.
It's a more up-to-date ranking, guys. It's flexible. It moves. It's like the golf ranking. That it's just more up to date, and you get a feel who's playing well and who's not. So obviously this is his table, which again is mint. But whilst we're looking at this, guys, who's been the biggest winners and biggest losers of the autumn series?
Gob, do you want to go first? I don't mind. I've got no problem at all. I don't mind going first.
I was looking at notable absences from that top 10. I think that considering just how well Glenn Durrant appeared from the bubble and went on to top the Premier League table. I know we had a blip towards the last couple of days when he was pretty much already secure, but I expected a bit of a better run from him. Michael Smith had an absolute howler of a week. Adrian Lewis wasn't much better, but there was some decent runs of form. I thought Joe Cullen was very good. He deserved to be in that top 10. Simon Whitlock was another who seemed to be in contention pretty much every day. He just felt like a name that was appearing a lot until he inevitably crashed and burned on each day that he did. Who else was pretty sharp? That's about it from me at the minute. I think that they were the ones that really stood out. Stephen Bunton, actually, is the last one on the thread of the mix.
Biggest losers for me, Marcus Smith has to be in there because he just didn't look at all at it. 3 first-round exits in 5 days, 2 on the bounce. That's not the buddy boy that we know and love. So for me, he has to be in there. Again, weirdly, surprisingly, down the bottom, obviously, and it's rightly so at the moment, is Jeff Smith. He was absolutely nowhere all the time. But the poor bloke, I will give some mitigation on this one. The poor bloke ran into absolutely astonishing averages in the first round normally. Clayton hitting a 112 against him on the 4th day. And then today losing to Stephen Bunting with 105. Like, come on now. Like, there are some aspects, but, I mean, he just wasn't anywhere near. Martin Clearmacher just didn't, with what you'd expect from him, with the way that he'd started, was there. Another one I'm going to put in the biggest losers, Jeffrey Desvaughn. He has got 0 form at this moment in time. He has got to be worried big time. Because if some people can come through the field...
The Titanic.
But honestly, like he might have just done enough over like winning a couple of games this week in order to get to the Grand Prix. But my God, he's sunk like a trace this week. And finally, for me, I hate to say this because I absolutely adore him, but Dirk van Dijvenbode absolutely sank like a trace as well. Van den Berg wasn't great either. Dimmy didn't particularly do well. Aspinall was there or thereabouts, I think, on most aspects. He just didn't get over the line in a couple of games. Biggest winners for me, I thought Boris Kuchma looked absolutely sensational in parts. I thought he looked really, really sharp. I also thought...
Until he was 5-3 up.
Well, let's not talk about that, Gob. Lisa Ashton as well looked brilliant in patches as well. I thought she played outstandingly, particularly on her run to the last 16 on that one day. And I think that's about it. It was obviously Damon Heta obviously winning his maiden Pro Tour. Obviously, we've got to talk about that because that's just catapulted. Well, it almost catapulted him into the World Grand Prix place, and then he lost in the first round today, which means that he won't be in the Grand Prix places, which is just huge. Missing out by 250 quid. I mean, like I say, Grand Slam place might be a softener. Callum Ridge played well in patches. I thought as well, Cullen was brilliant as well, in particular on the Friday when he came through the field in the World Series qualifier. I think that's it. I think there's some big names in there, but I think the big names in this bubble didn't really particularly perform well. And there were some big names that we were expecting PB in the race for the Grand Prix to do bits that just didn't.
No, I agree. I'm just going to a couple that have missed out. Gabriel Clemens, I thought was shocking, and sums up my point that I'm still not sold about the German giant. And I think
can I just jump in there really, really quickly? The whole of Germany didn't particularly perform well. Martin Schindler didn't really do bits. Maybe the quarter final.
I thought Schindler had a decent week. He wasn't exceptional, but Schindler was one that seemed to pick up a good couple of results compared to the form he's been carrying before that.
Max
I
Hopp
thought he was very much Jeffrey Desvaughn 6 months ago.
Another one that's got huge issues, and he's going to be defending his tour card next year. It's Darren Webster. couple of real shocking 79, 77 averages in losing defeats. And you think the Demolition Man 2 years ago was, 14 in the world?
He was what, championship quarter-finalist?
Yeah, and now all of a sudden, next year can be the biggest year of his career. Again, I agree that Rids really impressed me in spells. What a young man I think he's going to potentially be from that hotbed up in the northeast. And Luke Humphreys started to show again why, because he went missing. But spells of genius from the World Youth Champion. I'm just looking at it now. I'll tell you another one that I'm starting to really like. It's Willie Borland.
He's
got something about him. Yeah, he really impressed me in some games. So yeah, big Willie.
Mate. Absolutely right.
Yeah. Did really well for me, and yeah, look, I can't disagree with any of the ones that we've spoken about there. That and the rest are sort of like in and around, had good days, had bad days in terms of winning and losing. But before we come on to the World Series, you mentioned it, and there was a question on here. We're not going to shirk it. Where are we? From Philip. After the Summer Series, where is it? I said I'd answer it. There it is. Phill, do you still think that Sherrick is the best female player after the Autumn Series? Right. I'm not going to hide. I'm not going to.
Right, here we go. Feet up, mate.
we could have dodged the question and not answered it. However, that's not us. Right. Here's my thing with the whole Sherrick Ashton argument. Well, one, let's have it. They're both fabulous players, and I'm not saying they're not. So anyone that thinks otherwise, they're both fabulous players. And what I said was, for me, Sherrick's A game is better than Ashton's A game. Not once have I said that Lisa isn't a fabulous player, but I think Sherrick has got more in her game.
Right. Okay. I'll let you go. Carry on. You've got more. You've got an A. There's a second there. I thought you were coming then. But,
Look, obviously, Lisa has played fabulously in the Autumn Series and taken all the plaudits, which she deserves. Not arguing that. But I think we'll see the best of Sherrick this coming weekend, which we'll touch on when we speak about the World Series.
Here's my argument to anybody who talks about this. First of all, why we need to... I appreciate everybody needs to compare and contrast and all that sort of stuff. I get it. But let's have this right. What they're both doing for women's darts... First of all, I'm going to get some splinters before I jump on either side, one side of the fence here. In the sense of what they're both doing for women's darts is absolutely mint. Ashton, week in, week out, day in, day out on the Pro Tour, hanging it with the best players in the world. And then Sherrick for obviously what she did at the World Championships. Let's not beat around the bush. That pretty much was the biggest dart story, I'm going to say, in probably 4 or 5 years. Even bigger than Taylor's retirement, bigger than anything, was Sherrick's win. It reached international level. And darts has never had that, ever. I will fight anybody on this one. You can come into Birmingham and say I'm on a Sunday, and I will fight anybody on that one. Right? But we have not seen... on the PDC stage, at least, we have not seen much of Lisa Ashton on the PDC stage, right? Whereas Sherrick, she's won 2 great games of the World Championships. She beat the world number 11 by 3-1 in doing so to make the 3rd round for a kickoff. She's also taken the Premier League champion to a draw at 6-all. Yeah, she didn't have a great UK Open, obviously losing in the 1st round, but she got through to the UK Open on a floor event. So she's had the stage experience and the floor experience. I'm looking forward to seeing her on that stage because the crowd is going to go mental for it. She is the hottest property in darts. I don't care what anybody talks to me about, Michael Van Gerwen, anybody out like that. Sherrick does numbers. How it works. So I'm looking forward to seeing them too, obviously, the women's series. I can't wait to see Bakira Suzuki as well. I cannot wait to see Bo Greaves. The top 4 women in the game are going to be playing brilliant stuff. But if I have to pick one, I hate to do this, but I'm siding with PB. I'm still taking Sherrick on, particularly on a stage over Ashton at this moment in time.
just touch on it. Someone's asked why compare them on YouTube. Because one, we were asked, and two, with the ladies series coming up, they're playing against each other for a place at the Grand Slam and the Worlds in a league table. There's always going to be comparisons made. Same as Liverpool and City, who's the best? Ronaldo, Messi, who's the best? Sport, you compare top stars, top teams. It happens. It's happened since the beginning of time and will happen till the day sport falls off the radar. Agreed, guys?
Gob, you'll
both continue to be wrong. Mikuru Suzuki is the best lady player in the world.
I think if she played regularly, I think there's an argument. But the fact we only see her maybe twice a year, but she's over obviously in Asia playing loads of soft tip and all that. If she was over on the tour, I 100% agree. There's a massive argument there for that. 100%. But to be classed in the bracket as Sherrick and Ashton, she needs to come over and commit to playing still tip for me.
Well, I'll say this very, very quickly, Gob, very, very quickly, and Phill as well. Remember, she was 2 darts away from beating Sherrick to the history-making moment against James Richardson at the World Championships. We thought that was the moment. So remember, she's not like anybody who says that we think that Mikuru Suzuki, we're just going to leave her out of this. No, she was 2 darts away from beating Sherrick to the history-making moment.
But
and talent-wise, I think all three are eclipsed by the potential of Bo Greaves. And that's not to rule out anything the three have done, even. They are fantastic darts players. I just think in 20 years' time, we'll look back and we'll go, who is the best ever female darts player? And Bo Greaves will be comfortable. Better than Trina, better than what?
Oh, that's a big claim.
I think her achievements in darts will be better. I don't think she'll wrap up 10 world titles because I don't think that's the way it'll work. But I think she will immediately contend in mixed gender darts and will achieve more in terms of that and breaking down the barriers so it's a completely open sport than the rest of them. Yes, Lisa and Fallon and Mikuru have been at that level and have paved the way, but I think they're paving the way for Bo to seriously be a top 32 in the entire world player, not a top 32, not a top 4 lady player and a tour card holder. I genuinely think she can be that good.
I'm glad we're talking about ladies darts the way we are because look, we all love ladies darts as well, is the thing.
True.
Right, before we come on to the World Series, let's run through some YouTube questions. Again, new listener from Slovenia. Greetings, my Slovenian is awful, so I'm not even going to attempt to.
Thank you for joining.
Well, the fact that you know Slovenian is a bonus.
Ron Moulenkamp disappointed. Yeah, agreed. Patrick, he did. Nick Kenny did well. Yeah, I was quite impressed with Nick Kenny. What about Big H? We'll touch on that at the end, John. We'll go into a little bit deeper about Big H. But so we won't do that as the question. Now, what about Barney coming back to the PDC? Absolutely no chance. More chance of me shitting on the Queen's bed. Phill, what's your opinion?
Gone with you.
Tell us how you really feel, Phill.
Let's be fair. He couldn't be asked to play the Pro Tours when he had to. He's not going to go and do Q School, start at 128 and tramps around Wigan and Barnsley to try and get back on the TV. I've got more chance of breaking into Buckingham and laying a log on her bed. Right, anyway, back where we? Opinions on Scott Waits.
I think we should just record a little segment for every time this question comes up. And it will only take about 2 minutes. And we won't have any expletives in it, and it won't be as vividly in your imagination as the way Phil's just said it, but it will literally just shoot it down every time.
Right. Look, don't really know Scott Waits particularly well, but I don't think he's played that well since his shoulder op. I don't think he's quite been the same player. Scotty Mitchell, look, he's top of the Challenge Tour, and he's done half decent in the Pro Tour events that he's played in as well. Look, they're both former world champions, fabulous players. Agreed, guys?
Yeah, I think they both sort of missed the boat to move to the PDC, especially Scott Waits. Obviously, we understand why he didn't really move. He had the opportunity after he picked up the Grand Slam title.
That's why he should have
decided to stay with the career path that he was on and stay BDO as darts as a hobby, as you like. And I think that was the moment that if Scott was going to do something significant in PDC darts, that would have been it. I think that was his opportunity. I think he missed that a little bit. Scott Mitchell has always just been very steady, very consistent. I think he's incredibly tough to beat on stage, but I'm not too enamored by his floor game at the minute. Yes, he's picked up multiple BDO titles all around the world and that sort of thing, but I just think when you're contending against the PDC lot and getting on tour, that's a different animal.
Yeah, definitely. Daz, which officials at the World Series finals? I believe it is the best in the business, Georgie Noble and Kirky Bevins, two of them absolute stars in what they do. So I believe it is those two.
Love Kirk so much.
Oh, right. Before we come on to the World Series, last question, and we'll come on to the other questions at the end, guys. Best 5 players in the world right now.
As
MVG, right.
This literal minute.
Right now, the question is best 5 players in the world right now.
MVG, Wright, Price, Durrant, Gando.
MVG, Price. Actually, I'm going to do it in order. Price, MVG, Wright.
Sorry, what? Hang on. Whoa. Did you just call Gavin Price the best player in the world?
He's gone Welsh.
Yeah. I said earlier when we said I'm saying right now, right physically now at this moment, I think Gavin Price is the best player in the world.
Okay.
So Price,
all right,
MVG, Wright, Durrant, Aspinall.
Ooh, Rogue.
Ooh. Is it Rogue? He's just very steady. We didn't do anything majorly significant over the last 5 days, but he didn't flop.
There or thereabouts is the Aspinall.
He was, yeah.
It's difficult because at the minute I'm struggling to leave Devon Peterson out, despite the fact he didn't pick up that title. He's playing that well, and if you're talking about out and out players that are going to win you matches right now on ability, he's right up there. Will he do it consistently and under the biggest amounts of pressure? Possibly not. So it depends how we're using parameters to define the best. I'll give the standard, the top 3. Dozer. Actually, I think Devon is going to be my 5th at the minute.
Fair one. Right, we'll come on to some more questions at the end, guys. Don't worry. We love answering them as best we can. Right, this weekend, return of live action on ITV4. And more importantly, fans are back in the arena in Salzburg. It is the B-Wing World Series of Darts finals. Even though we haven't had a World Series, we've still got the finals, which is good. We touched on the picks, but we're not going to go there. We've done that in the previous show. Right, round number 1 on Friday. First of all, for those that don't know, you're going to miss the first hour of play ridiculously for highlights as well. Highlights of the Tour de France. Absolute shocking from ITV.
Can't you just watch the Peloton TV advert over and over again if you really want to see some cycling?
Side note as well, before we get going on this, genuine question. Why can't we watch this on PDC TV? The first hour? It makes zero sense.
But someone asked Matt that on Twitter, and all he said was, unfortunately, this time round, it can't. No, don't know.
I don't get that.
Don't know what.
I don't get that.
However, guys, if you head over to onlinedarts.com, touch on the streaming page, we will show you there how to stream all the action so you won't miss the first hour of play. Get that one in nice and early, gents. It's all about the advertising.
Nice save. Yes, good work.
So yeah, those that I want to watch on ITV, unfortunately, you're going to miss the first hour of play. However, let's run through the games. First up, it is Big H, Harry Ward against Darius Labanauskas. Then we've got Ian White against Damon Heta. Cody Harris against Dave Chisnell. I'm loving this next game. Vincent van der Voort against Joe Cullen. Next one, Jeff Smith against the Queen of the Palace, Fallon Sherrock. This next one, Krzysztof Ratajski against Mensur Sulovic. A repeat of the World Match Play semi-final, Glenn Durran against Dimitri Vandenberg. Then last up, Simon Whitlock against Steve Beaton. Oh my days, gentlemen. What a Friday night this is. If anyone's watching anything else, have a word with yourself, because this is box office. Suppose we better start at the top, gents. Oh, I don't know. From Vincent downwards, they've all got a little bit of something. We've got a little bit of stardust.
We'll come on to that. We'll come on to that in a second. But yeah,
to be fair, I think apart from the first game, they've all got potential to be absolute belters because of the players that are involved.
Game three doesn't float my boat either. But up there it is. The God dropout.
Oh, there it is. It's happened.
There it is.
It's happened. I can't wait. Love it.
Right.
Love
first
it.
Game. It is.
He's back. He's back. I love it. He's back.
Again, this is a real coin toss game for me. We'll talk about Big H at the end of the show, but he can just go up there and enjoy it. And Darius, look, when he's on, he's on. When he's off, it's not quite there.
Yep. We talked about this earlier. Name I definitely want to mention that didn't play well was Darius Labanauskas. Goodness me, he was dreadful today in the Autumn Series. It's a game of darts with fans. It's a good one to put at the start, I think, because if they didn't, then it might be a bit interesting. But that's a game for the fans to get in and have a beer. And not be funny, if you are going to miss the first hour with the rest of that lineup, it's just a meh game.
You say that, but actually, Harry Ward is a fantastic scorer when he gets going. Obviously, he needs to have the motivation to do it on the day. Darius is no mug. It does have potential. I just don't think it has the ceiling of potential of the rest of the 7 games.
No, I agree. And look, I don't know who wins. Just flip the coin up in the air and call. For me.
Darius.
I'll go Harry. Why not then? Harry won't be colourblind in Salzburg.
I'm going draw. Oh, sorry, wrong one. Second game, Ian White against Damon Heta. Looking forward to this game because, as I say, Damon showed some good signs in the Autumn Series, like we spoke about earlier, and we keep saying it. Will Ian White play well on TV? Can he reproduce his Euro Tour form on a big stage? Handed a tough first-round game, so interesting to see.
Not really. This again, White wasn't impressive at the Autumn Series. Didn't really come off the page. Didn't really do anything special. Heta obviously coming off the back of a World Series win. Of a ranking tournament win. Heta wins this comfortably for me. Comfortably.
I don't think he does. White, he wasn't horrendous. He had a run to a semi-final. The only problem with Ian White is it's on TV
the majority of the game.
And it's in front of camera, so you don't know which Ian White you're going to get. I think this won't be the most exciting game to watch in terms of pace. They're two quite methodical players. They're not going to go hammer and tong at it like someone like Michael Smith and Michael Van Gerwen would, but they're still both more than capable. I think the fact that neither are the heaviest scorer in the world, so that will give opportunities on each other's throws. So you could see quite a few breaks in this. Bit of tension, a bit of who holds it together the best. And that might give Damon the edge, but I am going to back Ian for this one.
I'm going Damon. There we go. And game number 3, Cody Harris against Dave Chisnell. Again, this one doesn't float my boat, if I'm being honest. I think there's no real reason for Cody Harris to be there. I think
Agreed.
like we said before, they over-egg the Oceanic region. And for me, this is an easy Chisnall win. I don't see Cody Harris getting near Dave Chisnall.
It should be. You should be absolutely right, but we haven't really seen a lot of Chisnall. Didn't jump off the page at any day of this autumn series. We haven't really seen him go deep for a long while. He's capable of putting in a very, very good performance, but he, at the minute on TV, he's been backing it up with an absolutely dross one or falling off the face of a cliff. So if he does get through, I'm not backing him for the second round, but I am going to back Chisnall for the first round. I just think his scoring just gives him the extra darts that he might need if he gets a little bit tense up on stage.
Yeah, why not? I'm with you, PB. Just go with Chisnall. Get this out of the way, I think. He's got something
this
true
next
to
one, I'm loving this one. Vincent van der Voort against the rockstar Joe Cullen. Both in good nick right now. Vincent did bits, I think it's fair to say, on the autumn series, and Joe was sensational. This will be played at a good pace that will suit both, and this could be explosive.
Yeah, this is a matchup I really like, really enjoy. Like I said, the pace will be very good. They're both more than capable heavy scorers when they get going, if that first start is right. I think Joe perhaps relies on that to get his range a little bit more than Vincent, whereas Vincent will just get frustrated if he throws the odd loose one. But he's been very good on TV recently, or whenever we've seen Vincent at these sort of events. So despite Cullen's good run this week, I'm actually going to back Vincent. I just think Joe's got the issue of getting over the line when he's got the opportunity. Yes, he's won a Euro Tour, but he probably should have won 3 or 4. Probably should have been a bit deeper in some of the TV majors. I just think that he needs to get that right, but I just think this might be another opportunity where Vincent will pinch it.
This is tighter than I thought it would be. Do you know what? Actually, I'll go with the Rockstar. I think he impressed me enough at the autumn series doing bits. I'll go with the Rockstar. Joe Cullen wins this one.
Yeah, I think Joe Cullen wins this one. However, I'd like Vincent to win just for a Zoom afterwards to see which town or city he wants to bulldoze this week.
He's going to bulldoze down the Salzburg Arena 100%.
That's what I mean.
He won't be happy about something.
We've done Blackpool, we've done Barnsley. So if we can have Joe winning and Vincent on Zoom for afterwards to see where we're going to pull down next, that would be quite a good Friday. Then here we go, ladies and gentlemen. It is the silencer, Jen Smith, against the Queen of the Palace. Fallon Sherrock returns to our TVs. We're looking forward to this one, slightly, guys.
Not really, I'll be honest with you. And the reason I say that is because this should be a very easy win for Fallon Sherrock, if you want me to be brutally honest. Jess Smith is in zero form, absolutely zero form. And I appreciate this is a very bold prediction here, but Fallon should win this comfortably with her stage game. Her race stage game should absolutely walk Jeff Smith. I don't see why the only reason why this is the big draw is because, as I said before, she's the biggest star in darts. Simple as.
Go.
Yeah, I'm struggling to disagree, to be honest. I just think that before this week, I would have backed Jeff Smith. I think he's an absolutely quality operator. I think he scores very well. He takes out the odd big finish when he needs it. He's very steady around the board. He's a player who's got a good mentality that doesn't really get flustered or lose his head or anything. And I don't think that playing Fallon in front of a crowd will get to him. But after his results this week, I think he's in real trouble. We know how hostile some of the European crowds have been in the past, and I'm fully expecting them to adopt Fallon as if she is Austrian.
Oh, Christ, they will love her. They will absolutely love her.
Yes.
I think they're going to love her more than the Germans love Max Hopp.
I don't know about that, but it's going to be close.
I do. I genuinely think that that's the way that Fallon's been billed and bigged up, and it's just, despite what she's done already, there still is this stigma in darts that losing to a woman is bad.
Yeah, no, I agree. The
Not
stigma is still
everywhere, and
there.
it is changing, but that does still exist. So the minute the crowd are on your back going, "Oh, you're in trouble here," to Jeff, or however you say it in Austrian. Sorry, my Austrian isn't great, along with our Slovenian tonight. I just think he could be in trouble.
See, as well, thing Jeff Smith has joined the Simon Whitlock Board Killer Points gang on his Facebook the other day. He's had some of those spiral points put in. His exact words were, "Thank you for these, Simon. They should now stay in the board."
Yeah, horrid for us. Like, they're banging for him. Don't get me wrong, but they're absolutely horrid for us. Part of me wishes I had some. Mine would be snapped in my case right now. But yeah.
Then Krzysztof Ratajski against Mensur Suljovic. Oh! What a round one game this is, gents. Because both did bits. Obviously, Ratajski getting to a final, Mensur getting to a final on the Autumn Series. This could be a little bit good, couldn't it?
Only after this week. I know Jar doesn't really rate Mensur since his Champions League victories and is probably going to tear into that. But I think that, as you said, I think he carried a bit more form this week, and he's still not where he was when he was top 8 in the world and playing Premier League and that sort of thing. But I think the run of results he had this week will give him a little bit of confidence, a little bit of belief. Ratajski was a little bit disappointing this week for me before that run today. I think that massively bailed him out, which makes this game very, very close, and it's a massive opportunity for both. I mean, it's another horrid draw for Krzysztof Ratajski on the TV stage. He doesn't get a lot of nice ones considering who's available in this field, but that's something he's got to learn to come through and get over and start knocking these players out of the way so he can go deep. Wouldn't surprise me if he then runs into one of the big three if he wins it as well, because that's just how Ratajski's draws work. But I'm going to give the Polish Eagle the edge here.
Well, if Ratajski obviously wins, he plays Michael Smith in the next round, so it's not too bad of a draw for him. Look, this is very difficult for me to do because since 2018, since the match play final, I've really been down on Mensur Suljovic. I really hate doing this, but it's in Austria with a home crowd. Mensur's going to win this. Mensur will win this match. That is very painful.
For Mensur Suljovic double headbutt celebration. Something we haven't seen in the Mensur double headbutt for a while.
Agreed. Yeah.
More of a shoulder charge, isn't it? He's scared of hurting his neck.
Yeah.
Look, this could go either way, but I think Mensur might nick it with home advantage. Then a repeat of the World Match Play semi-final is Glendarren against the World Match Play champion Dimitri van den Berg. But there's a, shall we say, slight injury concern over Dimitri. We've seen him at the Autumn Series with that huge knee brace on. The Dan Dawson and I believe it was Nico said that he's had one operation, but he's got to have another one at some point as well. Now, I'm no medical expert, but I'm guessing that's not a good thing to be going up and playing darts with a great big Johnny 5 brace on your knee.
I don't know. It might keep his leg locked out straight where he needs it at the board, but he doesn't have the most aggressive stance. So obviously it will be causing him some discomfort. This is a horrid little matchup, honestly, because I think if these two draw 70-80% of the rest of this first round, you're looking at them both progressing. But after what happened in the match play, Glenn's drop off in form over this week, I've seen a couple of posts on him from social media where he's really not happy. His doubling has been letting him down, which is very, very unlike Glenn. And after the success of the change in equipment or flights that he had during the Premier League, I think we might possibly see the pair ones back. I'm going to back Glenn just because I think he needs it more than anything, just to keep himself ticking over stage practice ahead of the Premier League. Obviously, big concern about Dimitri's stage game and how he just appears to take people away. I think he's up to world number 11 right now as well, if I'm right in saying. That was mentioned in the Pro Tour final today.
You are, yeah. You are right, yeah.
So he's not an easy character to beat on stage, but I'm going to tip Glenn just.
Injury concerns, everything else alongside Dimmy make me go for Glenn, and Glenn will want revenge for the match play semi-final. So yeah, I'm going with Does It on this one.
Same, I'm going for a Does It win clean sweep. Then last up, it is Simon Whitlock against Steve Beaton. Now, if you'd have asked me before the autumn series, I think I'd have gone Steve Beaton. However, I think Whitlock's played himself into a little bit of form.
Yep, completely agreed. Steve had no form this week as well. He's had a horrid week. Clearly not happy as well on his social media with his performances. But yeah, I think you're right. Simon has played his way into form. He sort of kept his season alive. He's still in contention for the Grand Prix, I believe.
No, Whitlock isn't. No,
can't quite remember.
Whitlock isn't, or Beaton. Whitlock and Beaton are both out, obviously, because they are not in the Euro event, so they are absolutely gone.
Whitlock is one of them that will put together those runs when you think he's dropping off and will suddenly find himself in a quarterfinal of a TV event and that sort of thing. And I think we could see that from him again here, and I'm going to back him for this first round.
Yeah, but Beaton not really had any form at all. I'm going to go with him. I'm going to go with Simon Whitlock. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm going for Whitlock as well. So that's the first round of the World Series. Remember, we'll have everything covered for you online darts. If you can't watch it live, follow us. But more importantly, that first hour, head over to the website and we'll tell you how you can stream that first hour of play. Right, gents, it's time to run through some of the other bits and bobs that has happened in the darting world. First up, we'll start with Big Harry Ward announcing he's going to give his tour card up.
Before we go, Phil, can I just say we've got some breaking news coming into us here at Online Darts. That we talked about Harry Ward, another player that will be stepping away from the Oki is Jamie Lewis. He's just posted this message on Twitter. I think it's time to step away from the sport I love for a little bit and focus on myself. I'm getting to myself into terrible habits and I'm doing my health no favours. Massive thanks to Dean Williams, who's one of the markers, Johnny Clayton, Devon Peterson, and Joe Cullen today, and everyone that's sent me messages. So it looks like that Jamie Lewis will be stepping away from the sport for a little bit, breaking in the last 15 minutes here on the Online Darts Live Lounge, just to give all of our viewers a little bit of an update on that one.
Yeah, look, he's been struggling for a while, let's be fair, and they say winning's a habit, but sadly losing is as well, and it's probably almost certain he's going to lose his tour card as well. So look,
let's be honest about it. Let's be honest about it. Really, apart from two great runs at Ali Pali, and they were absolutely brilliant. You know, semi-final against Phill Taylor in his final year, made the fourth round a couple of years back. Has he really done much apart from that? Probably not. And I think it's a good time for him to step away from the sport.
Yeah, Big H. I thought it was really good and really sensible approach from him. That he said, "Look, I know what I need to do to be a top professional, but I don't want to do it." So I think it's a really courageous and sensible thing from Big H to do it.
Takes a lot to admit that.
Oh, massively.
Takes an awful lot to admit that, especially for someone like Big H, who was he in the BDO World Youth final? I haven't just made that up, have I?
I'll just
double check. He was in the BDO World Youth final. I'm convinced he was in the BDO World Youth final.
He did, yeah. He lost to Colin,
tour, but does have a pro tour.
Yeah, he lost to Colin Roloffs in the 2015 BDO World Youth Champ final.
There we go. See, so yeah, he's obviously got the ability. He's won a pro tour. He's full of bags of scoring. But if he doesn't have the time or the effort or the motivation to to carry on with the sport and play it at a top level, then it's absolutely the right thing to do. Don't carry on. Don't force yourself. Admittedly, normally we see this decision taken by players at the latter stage of their career that have done it for a long time. But darts nowadays, people of my generation, shall we say, have been playing the sport for 10, 15 years already. If you don't have that get up and go and drive to be on the practice ball for 2-3 hours, then it's not the career for you. Top level sport is not for everyone.
No, definitely. Right, let's go through. No, let's go through. So, right, from Daz, who do you think will win the World Series finals? Well, Jar's going to say right.
Don't stop the party.
Where's the mute button?
No, Snakey's going to win it. Snakey's going to win the World Series. I'll go with him.
Rob, are you going for the World Series?
James Wade.
Also, just pick your favourite player, moment.
Yeah, it is. Yes.
Justification for being missed out of a seed. Now he's in the seed. Everyone else is in trouble.
Well, if we're just picking our favourites, I'll just pick MVG then, shall we?
Why not go with it? So we're not saying Price at this moment in time.
I'm torn.
My only concern with Gezi.
What a 1996 reference that is.
That is a niche reference.
I'm going to go one better than that. Beth from Neighbours.
Yeah. You've lost me.
Look, my only concern with Gezi is the fact that it's 13 games unbeaten now. Whenever you go on those kind of big runs, you normally then lose a game next tournament. That's just how it works. And that was a crucial moment to him in the UK Open. The fact that he got beat by Dozer in Exeter, because that was only a free thing. So it's not that the sort of thing. I've won 20 straight. That's it, and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, that's the only reason why I'm not going for Gezi, is because he's won 13 of them.
Yeah, I'm going MVG. Old Magic, Old Faithfuls out the draw. Bosh, TV title. Cheers, Ease. So yeah, great to hear, Charlie, about Dozer. John, what about the World Grand Prix being in Coventry? Look, with current
what a
place!
What a place it is. Coventry, do no dissing of Coventry.
We'll have the angry Coventry City football fans attacking us in a minute.
We're struggling to hear you. Mute.
The Sky Blues.
No, look, it's in Coventry for a reason, because they can create that bubble environment the same as Milton Keynes. The hotel is on the side of the arena, so players don't have to leave. Unfortunately, Milton Keynes is unavailable due to Matchroom already booking it for World Snooker. So, look, I think the only other option was the Reebok, and cases aren't particularly great up there at the moment. So they've gone for Covent. Look, it is what it is. John, views on Michael Smith's game had.
Sorry, can I just say I will not have any more slander about Coventry on this station, because if we do on this channel, because if we do, I'll be very unhappy. Coventry's great.
Anyway, views on Michael Smith's game and has to get that extra %. Look, I don't think Bully Boys, and we've said it before, he's not a million miles away. I just think maybe at times he needs to. We've all said he's not a million miles away on here. If you want, I'll go back and get the old tapes and dig it out.
I just think he's had an absolutely horrendous week at this series. 6 weeks ago, I was saying he was going to win the Premier League. I genuinely thought he was carrying that much form. I just think that his peaks and troughs in form are far more significant than the other players in and around him. When he's bad, he is very bad. That's an issue for a dart player. But when he is good, and when he knows where the outer ring is, he's exceptional.
Can I just say very, very quickly? Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Yeah, hang on. Sorry, they do say bid in Coventry. I saw that comment on YouTube. Yes, they do. More importantly, to the point about Michael Smith.
It's a Geordie Shore saying it's been stolen. Why are you, Pet?
No, well, are you telling it to Nico now?
Yeah.
Here's the point about Michael Smith. Look, you can always have a bad week, and that's that. But from the match play semi-final, I think it's sort of broken his heart a little bit. He didn't look great in the Prem. Couple of games where he didn't get the points that he deserved. I'll maintain this though, PB and Gob. If he does take out the darts that he had to win the Masters, we are having a completely different conversation. Because he's that desperate to win what he would class as a big TV title. I appreciate he's the Shanghai Darts Master, but you speak to Buddy himself, he says he doesn't really care about that one. He wants a TV title. And I appreciate the Masters isn't ranked either, but it's a TV title. You can't be. They're all TV titles, are they not, Phil?
Correct. Mr. Hearn doesn't have majors. They're all televised titles on the graphic.
They're all televised titles. So look, if he takes out those darts to win the Masters, we're having a completely different conversation, I think, about Michael Smith right now. Yeah. It's a shame.
John, when do we think Pro Tour markers will be back? I haven't got a clue, if I'm being honest. But as it stands, the Dev Tour and Challenge Tours are still on, which I'm a little bit surprised about, if I'm being honest. I thought that this rule of 6 might, but I suppose if you can just 6 around the table, 2 meters, 6 around the table, 6, that it's okay. I'm guessing.
Sport, they're exempt anyway. I suppose if they're COVID secure, so people have temperature checks on the way in, contact details, and all that sort of thing, then crack on and do what they want.
I think Barry's got everything planned that he'd move everyone back in tomorrow, John, if he could. He's just waiting for their government just to say yes, and it will literally be a full-scale operation that we all know that Barry, back to normal. The show must go on. But looking forward to the Dev Tour and the Challenge Tour as well, guys, if I'm being honest. It'd be nice to see some, like, those players getting back to action.
I'm more excited. Do you know what I'm very excited for? I am very, very excited for the World Youth Finals, for the World Youth Qualifier. I'm absolutely buzzing. Some of the names in that Dev Tour lineup are unreal. Can't wait.
Dennis Priestley?
Yes.
Look, I'm looking forward to it again. When will Russ Bray be back on TV? He'll be on one of them soon, mate. They normally 3 out of the 4 are at tournaments, but obviously at the moment they're only doing 2
now, isn't it?
Obviously, what's that?
It's 5 now. There's with Hugh.
I don't think Hugh's actually full. I think there's 4 full-timers, and Hugh does all the behind-the-scenes stuff on Pro Tours and stuff like that, and on the UK Open and stuff like that. I'm not sure if he's. Yeah, I'm not sure if Hugh has officially got his badge of honour to join the full-time gang yet, but very good referee, mind you.
Can I just say, Owen Binks? Say really, really quickly? I know he's not watching at the moment, but I want to say this now. Binksy once again had an absolutely stonking autumn series. Owen Binks is going places. That lad, he's been absolutely unreal so far. Got to say that.
Patrick, any news about the Premier League playoffs? Not as yet. The word on the street when we were at the Premier League was they were still hoping to have some sort of a crowd for the finals. Again, listening to Eddie, he did an interview with Coogan yesterday. He's still hopeful that his event in 4th of October, Josh Buatsi, will have a limited number of tickets. So I think this will be a very last-minute call for the Premier League finals, as in where it's going to be and who's going to be in. I think it'll be left until the last minute possible. You agree, guys?
Yeah, if there's a way to get fans in, then they'll leave it as late as they can to make that call and get them in. It's what makes business and logistical sense, really.
Yeah, well, you look at the snooker. They said no, they couldn't have fans in, and then they could for the final, and within 2 weeks they'd sold the allocation of tickets. So, look, Matchroom are the best at what they do for promotional of all the sport and everything like that. So, look, if there's 300 tickets available, they could get rid of them in a week. I'm quite sure of that. And Matt, Barry, and everyone there will have
get rid of them in an hour.
We'll have plan. Well, I'm talking about times to set up and everything like that. Get them on ticket ticket exchanges and everything like that. So yeah, look, they're the very best at what they do. We're lucky in that respect that we have got the best drive in our sport.
Very true.
So
Very true.
from there, right, guys, we're coming up to an hour and a half. We've waffled for long enough, and we appreciate everyone who has chipped in and watched this week's Live Lounge. It's been busy because there's been so much darts to talk about. It's been
gone into
absolute.
I didn't. Yeah, I was about to say, I didn't realise we've gone international this week as well. Thank you very much to our viewer from Slovenia as well. Spread the gospel. We're spreading the gospel of darts.
Same as last week. Was it Kentucky? We had one from last week.
Yeah.
We're getting there. We're going global.
Do you think that was
genuinely, guys? No, he's in New York.
Back.
He's back.
More Harry Potter references.
As if we don't have enough already.
This is like when Newt Scamander goes off in Fantastic Beasts to New York, isn't it?
Oh, that's a very niche reference in that sense. We've not used a Fantastic Beasts reference yet on this channel.
But by the way, just before we go, we have got genuinely, if they come off, 2 bits of absolute outstanding content that we'll bring you. One is Christmas themed, and if we can pull this off, it's just going to be absolutely amazing. And 2, it's very magical, and we will pull this off. It might take a while because we're going to argue, but 2 bits of absolute outstanding content and something just a little bit different to the run-of-the-mill dart stuff that I know you all like, but we're just trying to just engage other audiences and see how far we can push these sporting boundaries and crossovers. So really looking forward to that. But thank you all very much. You've joined us on the Live Lounge. We will be back on Monday or Tuesday. We'll sort out a date where we can all sit down and look back over the World Series and see Michael van Gerwen lift another trophy. I mean, see who lifts the trophy. But we're looking forward to it. Guys, absolute pleasure as always. Jack Goby Garwood, Jarleth and me, Phill Bars. We really do appreciate all your love and support. And remember, please subscribe to all of our channels if you can, no matter what one you are watching them on. We've got enough of them now, guys, haven't we? Let's be fair. But if you can do any damage on any platform for us, we really do appreciate it. Much love, and we will see you all very soon, guys. Thank you very much for joining us.